Get ready. Straight from the streets of LA.
Lower Alabama, that is.
We're talking SEC football, and that's all. This is AP and Kelly as we see it.
I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I said I'm all about that action.
I'm AP Stedham from LA, Lower Alabama.
And I'm Kelly Finley, journalist of more than 24 years, covering news and notes and sports and a whole lot of behind the scenes just for you for college football.
This is AP and Kelly as we see it, a syndicated weekly 1 hour show, concentrating on the Southeastern Conference and always keeping an eye on the college football scene across the nation and more. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, AP, or as I love to call you, hey, co-host. We are moving and grooving through this season. How fun is this? You know, the number one question I always ask you, even though I know the answer this week, where are you today?
Oh, I'm at the house here in LA, Lower Alabama, but we'll be on the road. We'll be on the road, of course, this week.
Yes,
We'll be traveling to Oxford, Mississippi, staying in Tupelo, home of Elvis, because that's where we'll be on that Friday.
Peanut butter and banana sandwiches for you?
Not particularly.
Hold the banana. I'm good. I'll take peanut butter.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's very, very cool that you will be on the road because we can keep up with you via social media. We always remind our friends to watch and listen and learn, right? And you follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, also known as X. There you can see behind the scenes, the photos, the videos, the interviews, also posting your question and previous shows, because now we're not only here visually, but we also still have our podcast. So you want to listen to us while you're on the go, you can do that just by searching AP and Kelly as we see it.
Right. I love that we're on the YouTube now, so people can watch us as well. So yeah, that's been a nice addition for us. So I think we're on our, I don't know, maybe the 5th episode, something like that. But anyhow,
Yeah,
who's counting?
Hey, that's thanks to your mastermind, your genius of understanding, though, because college sports is always evolving, and so we're keeping up with the times, and then some. But we're able to do that because we have great sponsors.
Yeah, Careers Markets. We want to thank them. We're always excited to promote them on all of our social media platforms and everything that we do, whether it's on a Saturday football game or a Sunday, which I was this week for the Philadelphia Eagles versus New Orleans Saints game. So remember that Greer's has Lucy's recipe in the library, so you don't have to reinvent everything. You can just go on their website and she has all those delicious recipes for you. And then they have the coloring contest for the children. And that's a monthly affair. You could get extra points for your school because they donate to schools as well. And then we all know that when you're getting busy, getting ready for the football game, sometimes you can't make it physically to the Greer's itself. You go on their website, you get groceries to go, and all the delicious food will be delivered right to your house. Groceries to go from Greer's. And remember the 3 things: the family, the friends, and the football. This is the season. So
that's right.
You keep that in mind. Those 3 F's: family, football, and friends. Remember, when you're shopping at Greer's got it. They guarantee it, Kelly.
You can throw in another F and your 4th one called Finley. So
right. There we go for sure.
Be careful with your F's, okay?
You got to be your pronunciation must be very correct. Yeah,
right.
Correct with your pronunciation.
1 point.
Your projection.
All right, so we know that you skipped out of town and went to a Sunday game, but I also know while you were there, you were keeping an eye on, preparation as we get set for a new week and new matchups. Some biggies happening this week.
Oh yeah, Kelly, we just want to mention 2 of our other sponsors before we proceed, and I know you love the second one. I know you love the second one with Wind Creek, because if you say the ad on our show, you can sign up as a first-time member and mention Kelly with a Y, 25, Kelly 25, and you'll have $25 to start your day at the Wind Creek Casino, the 3 locations: Atmore, Montgomery, and Wetumpka. And also, Kelly, the first-time person has a chance for $1,000 rebate as well. So I don't know the intricacies of everything, but I would definitely check that out. A chance to win $1,000. make somebody happy as well. So there are three
Yeah,
locations:
uh-huh.
Atmore, Montgomery, Wetumpka.
Yeah, drop my name. It'll work. It'll
Yeah, Kelly,
it'll
you're
put you
magic.
on winning ways, winning ways. Well, and that's why. And I know we have our great sponsors, and that's why I was mentioning that you were on the road because it's like we're always going to support. We're big on local, and we're big on those who support us. And so while you're in
Oh
your
yeah.
travels, you always make sure to remind people of that. And I'd love that. Lots to smile about. Lots to
Oh,
smile about.
absolutely. And then Kelly, we want to mention Robertsdale Dental Care at 251 nine
Hmm.
four seven 3636. Dr. Jason Northcutt. Not only does Dr. Jason Northcutt offer basic full service dental treatment, but Dr. Jason Northcutt has developed a niche within the practice where he provides comprehensive dental implant services such as single implants, bone grafting, and full mouth reconstruction. Dr. Jason Northcutt has been highly trained in those disciplines to offer comfortable and long lasting solutions to major dental problems. So come by and see Dr. Jason Northcutt of Robertsdale Dental Care, 251 947 3636.
Definitely appreciate his support as well. Now, there's a number of teams that have buys this week, of course. And so if you're
Yes.
new to the show, what we usually do is we go through the teams in alphabetical order, or sometimes more of the bigger games because that's where all the eyes are going to be. But before we go there, I just have a question as to which games did you watch last week? And of all those games, is there anyone that just jumps out at a game that you really want to recap, so to speak?
Well, I think that Oklahoma game being welcomed into the SEC by Tennessee, and they had the backdrop story of the former Oklahoma national championship quarterback Josh Heupel, now the head coach of Tennessee. He went there and beat his former team by double digits, and he slowed
Oh,
down. He slowed down their offense. And oh, by the way, Oklahoma really held um, Tennessee to 23 points. They had a safety there at the end, I guess it was. So they did a magnificent job on defense, but they have the quarterback shuffle going on there at many places. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Jackson Arnold and Mike Hawkins, the true freshmen. So quarterback shuffle at Oklahoma right now. They're trying to find themselves.
But I mean, that's part of the game, though, right? And you got to give them
Yes,
credit that the fact that they move and groove instead of being locked into this ancient
yes.
mentality of, well, this is who we said would be our starter, so we've got to stick with them. I mean, the game evolves, and so should the sport evolves so should the game too.
Oh yeah. And mentioning the quarterback shuffle, Kelly, that brings us to the Oklahoma game. They're on the
Mm-hmm.
road for the first time to Auburn. They played Auburn. They held the lead in the series too. I remember they played in the Sugar Bowl way back, and I can't remember the other time. But Auburn's with the quarterback shuffle as well. So both teams are
Okay.
trying to find their way with their quarterbacks. Hank Brown started last week for Auburn, threw a jillion interceptions, so he was benched at halftime. Peyton Thorne came back. He was the original starter. They transferred from Michigan State. So I don't know what Auburn's going to do this week. They're really trying to find somebody in practice, but they might use the two quarterbacks again. So Hugh Freeze was on the press conference. We had a chance to listen to him, and he's has to do some psychology, right, with those young quarterbacks. Well, of course, Peyton's not
Absolutely.
a younger quarterback, but you have to do that psychology and keep encouraging them, emphasize the positive, eliminate the errors, and you can
Hmm.
play better football. They're moving the football fairly well, Auburn is, but turnovers galore. Kelly, their turnovers, they're actually in America, 131st, Kelly. There's only a
Ooh.
couple of teams below them in turnovers,
Mm,
okay? Minus
yeah.
2.5, and it's a short season already. You're already at minus 2.5 and a half. Oklahoma is, they're pretty good in the turnover department, so they got to watch that. Oklahoma's
So,
offense, Kelly, kind of surprising. 119th. That is not very
hmm.
good. 100, Oklahoma's offense.
Neither team wants to brag on those stats at all. We've got 30 seconds left in this segment, but I just recommend that they maybe get some stickum, use that on
Yeah,
their gloves. And that way they can not only hold on to the ball, but run that rock because it matters. Because no matter how great the play is designed, if you can't finish it,
no,
and move those chains forward, then you're back in the category you don't want to be in. Hey,
yeah.
we've got a guest coming up after the break. Tell them all about it.
Yeah, Buck Belue, the national championship quarterback for Georgia, 1980. He's a legend. He's been on over in Atlanta on Radio 680, the Buck Belue Show for decades. He's going to discuss the upcoming Georgia-Alabama game that has the attention of not only the Southeast and the SEC, but the whole United States. So I guess
That's
we're going to be
right.
back after these messages with AP and Kelly as we see it.
Let the games begin at Wind Creek Casino, where new players get a free play rebate of up to $1,000 based on their first day's play. Just stop by Player Services at any Alabama location and sign up for a rewards account to get all the details. Mention you heard this ad on the radio and give the code Kelly25, and we'll throw in a $25 free play bonus. That's KELLY 25. Don't miss out on our new player promise, exclusively from Wind Creek. Minimum $75 loss required for free play rebate. Get full details at windcreek.com or see Player Services.
Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greer's.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it.
And welcome back to AP and Kelly as we see it. And Kelly, we have a very special guest who will be joining the show, Buck Belue, the national championship quarterback for the Bulldogs, 1980. He has his own show in Atlanta for a long time, decades. It's 680, the Buck Belue Show. Hey, Buck, welcome to AP and Kelly as we see it.
Hey, it's good to be with you.
Hey, Buck.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. We're super excited to have you on. I'll refrain from saying what the buck, but you know.
We've heard it all.
Kelly, Detroit in the house. Buck,
That's right.
Detroit in the
You
house.
better believe it. Oh, my
But,
goodness.
Buck, another Georgia-Alabama football game. They played about 70 plus times, not historically year in and year out, but this rivalry the last decade or so has developed into a fierce and competitive one for both teams, and fans are super excited, and it's finally here.
Yeah, it is. And, as a kid growing up in the South, I used to wonder, why doesn't Georgia and Alabama get to play more? I really, as a football fan, I miss seeing that growing up. And, the 4 years I was in Athens, we never played Alabama. So we missed out on that rivalry part of it. But this thing's heated up now. These teams are facing off a lot, and I think that's just the way it should be.
Yeah, they recruited the same type of players, and they're probably one of the few schools, handful of schools, recruit coast to coast. They're very fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, and we're just so happy to have Kirby back home running the program. And, he certainly learned a lot under Nick Saban over at Alabama, and he's using a lot of that over in Athens right now. So we're very proud of the job he's doing, and he is. I tell you, I don't think any coach out there is outworking Kirby Smart. So we're proud to have him there, and we don't think he's going anywhere either. His wife's a Georgia graduate. They've got a young family. I don't think he wants to make the move to the NFL. We're paying him well, so we're hoping we're going to be able to hang on to him.
Buck,
I think you will.
Buck, you're a two-sport phenom yourself, right? So you understand pressure. What's your advice on both sides of the ball? What do you say to these young men who are really going to be on a major stage, so major that the former president is going to be at this game? I mean, it's kind of a big deal. What advice would you give?
Well, I tell you what I used to love to do was during the pregame was to really soak up the atmosphere and allow yourself to take your guard down and look around, enjoy the crowd filing into the stadium, and listen to the bands, and take a look at the cute cheerleaders, and just
Focus,
sort of
Buck,
enjoy the
focus.
whole atmosphere. So,
Yeah.
and then once you go back in before the game, you got to put the blinders on as a quarterback. You've got to be able to focus in. You can't be thinking about all those things once the game starts. So, that would be my advice. I don't think Jalen Milroe's got that figured out by now. And I know Carson Beck is also doing a great job for us. So I'm really excited about seeing these two quarterbacks play the game.
Buck, considering the offense stumbled against Kentucky, but Kentucky has one of the better defenses, what does Georgia need to do to get on track in this Alabama game?
Well, I think the first thing is you need a fast start. You're playing on the road. You're playing a quality opponent in front of a hostile environment. The most important thing is to get off to a really good start. Maybe quiet the crowd a little bit. Show Alabama you've shown up ready to play at a high level. And Georgia hadn't done that so far this year. Even the Clemson game to get the season started, they didn't do a lot in the first half. So this is 3 games into the year. This is one of those games where you need to be aggressive early in the game, try to get some points on the scoreboard and get some confidence. The last thing you want to do is to fall behind, have to play catch up in front of what should be an outstanding crowd.
I think when you watch a game of this magnitude, you love to know the backstory. That one player who got cut time and time again and then was a walk on and then can save the whole shebang. Give us a backstory that maybe we don't know about one of the players that you've been privileged to be able to highlight, from your vantage point.
Well, it's been a few years, but when we won that national title in 1980, I feel a little guilty these days when people, at least Georgia fans, want to talk about the 80 championship. They'll talk about Herschel and they'll talk about Lindsey Scott, and they'll talk about me because I was the quarterback. And there's just so many guys that played such a great brand of football that never get mentioned. And it's one of the reasons why I sat down and penned a book that I've got out now. Inside the Hedges has been out a couple of years, and it's about that 1980 season. And I tell the backstory about Valdosta High School and why it's the winningest high school football program in the country and how they were able to do that. And, all those things, the book has allowed me to talk about those guys that didn't get the credit that they deserved. At least on our team, everybody talked about Irk Russell, our defensive coordinator, and the head coach, Vince Dooley, and we all got too much of the credit. But it was guys that, people maybe have forgotten about that made the big difference. And so, look, this is 11 on 11. And if you have a weak link, the opponent's they're going to find it pretty quickly. So you got to be strong in every area if you're going to go out and win big football games like we're going to see on Saturday night.
Look, who's been some of the players in the short season so far that they're going to rely on to make a big play on the road? No more Brock Bowers, that fabulous tight end. I saw him operate against Auburn, just take over the game the last quarter, win it for him, really. But who might be somebody that we can watch on the Georgia offensive side?
Well, the one thing they really hadn't had is a lot of explosive plays, where don't really show off a guy like a Ryan Williams, who's already making a big splash over in Tuscaloosa. We do have a couple players that are going to provide some explosive plays. Hopefully that will happen on Saturday night for the Georgia fans. ETN, who transferred in from Florida, did not play in the Clemson game, but he's ready to go, ready to get that ball. I would assume you're going to see him touch that ball 20 or more times in the game. Arian Smith is another player that has really developed into a complete wide receiver. Previously, he was just, I'm going to run by you and try to get deep and hit the big play down the field. But he's another one that runs the sub fofo 40, as we like to say. So those are two players offensively that have that explosive skill set. Other than that, just a lot of really good, solid football players on this Georgia offense.
I know you were QB1, but special teams, I mean, they are really showing out, I think, in this time, whether you're watching at the collegiate level or the pros. So special teams wise, how important do you think they will be in this game?
Well, the big games are always coming big. And, it's one of the things, I played for Coach Vince Dooley, and one of his philosophies, and we started every practice every day with special teams. That was the first thing we did. He recruited great specialists. We have a long list of great kickers that have played at Georgia, kick return men, that made big plays. They really put a big emphasis on that, and Kirby has done the same thing. I'll tell you the most unbelievable stat from a year ago for Georgia was they played the entire season last year, and there was not one punt return for 1 yard against Georgia last season. They play starting starters on offense and defense are playing special teams, and so they put a premium on it. And overall, I think Georgia's special teams are as good as any in the country.
I think they're holding true to that fact right now. I think that was mentioned today in the press conference with the Alabama coach. Hey, Buck, the last minute or so, what does Kirby do on the road differently as a head coach? Is he going to play the conservative game, or will he try for that home run as you suggested?
Well, I think his philosophy is you want to get the run game going. Prove that you can run the football. And, it's part of the reason why the Kentucky game was close. They were determined to get that run game going. And then once you do that, defense has to overplay the run game. Then you open up the passing game, hit the big plays there. But, when you come into games and matchups like this, I don't know if you can be as patient trying to establish the run. Not that I'm giving Kirby any advice. He certainly doesn't need any from me, but you've got a senior quarterback that's one of the best in the country. He's done a great job of making good, sound decisions. He protects the football. You don't see Carson Beck turning the ball over very much. So I think this is one of those games you've got to put the ball in his hands from the first possession on, and just expect him to go out and make a lot of good decisions. You got to be able to do both against quality defenses like Alabama's got. You got to be able to throw it and run it if you want to go into their backyard and get a victory. And they've got a quarterback that can do those things. Carson can get them in the right play, check at the line of scrimmage, get them in the right play. He can make all the throws. He can even scramble. Now, he's no Jalen Milroe, but he can run around a little bit.
Buck, I want to know real fast, who gave you that nickname and why?
Well, Buck was a nickname given to me at birth. My name's Benjamin Franklin Belue III. And so my dad was Junior, obviously, and they predetermined that they didn't want to say Ben and have both of us come running. So they named Buck comes from my father's high school football coach in Macon, Georgia. His last name was Buck. And so they gave me that nickname at birth in honor of my dad's high school football coach.
Hey, thank you so much. Buck Belue, national championship quarterback from Georgia in 1980, legendary Bulldog, 680, the Buck Belue Show. Thank you very much, Buck, and we'll be right back after these messages with AP and Kelly as we see it.
Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it.
Let the games begin at Wind Creek Casino, where new players get a free play rebate of up to $1,000 based on their first day's play. Just stop by Player Services at any Alabama location and sign up for a rewards account to get all the details. Mention you heard this ad on the radio and give the code Kelly25 and we'll throw in a $25 free play bonus. That's KELLY 25. Don't miss out on our new player promise, exclusively from Wind Creek. Minimum $75 loss required for free play rebate. Get full details at windcreek.com or see Player Services.
Welcome back to AP and Kelly as we see it. That was a great conversation with our friend Buck Belue.
Yeah. If that ain't Southern, I don't know what is.
There you go. I love the fact that he told us the backstory. That goes to show you people want to look at sports and kind of, look down on them as if to say that they can't change a whole generation. But think about that. He was named after a coach. That coach really left a positive imprint on his family, and his dad wanted to make sure his name was his name.
Right. Oh, correct.
I like that,
for
sure. Oh my goodness. All right, so we're gonna get back to going through the games. Prior to our interview, we talked about Oklahoma taking on Auburn and what each team needed to do to come out victorious.
Yeah, Oklahoma, we didn't mention, I think they're about a 2.5 point favorite on the road because
Okay.
Auburn has struggled at home. They lost twice now, but anyhow, so on
Well,
to the
but
next game. Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
well, real fast though, but with Hugh Freeze, this, you start hearing the questions, the naysayers, well, should we start looking for another coach? Or is it too early to even talk like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it's too early. I don't think he recruited his particular quarterback. He had one through the transfer, Peyton Thorne, and the team has been plagued with turnovers. And like I said, they're moving the football, but you can't win with 4 and 5 turnovers. You have to change that behavior.
Very well said. I know my co-host wouldn't turn it over. So Kentucky taking on Ole Miss. What do we need to know about both teams? Did either do something of significance that you want to point out from last week?
No, not particularly. But Kentucky, they beat Ohio 41-6. Kentucky, Kelly, they can play defense. Their defense, total defense is sixth right now nationally. That is
Wait,
tremendous.
repeat that again. Their total
Sixth,
defense is
sixth,
sixth. Wow.
sixth in the country total defense. That's why they were in that game against Georgia, held them to 13 points, and they were in the
They
ball
held
game,
their
but they
own.
lost by a point. But so,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
the offense is 115th, so they've been struggling like many offenses, especially the passing is 121st. So they've got to do better in that department to go against Ole Miss, who we know offensively, Kelly, number one, Ole Miss, number one
Number
in
one.
the country,
Wow.
offense. So they're putting on
Are
points.
you
Yeah.
are you surprised by that?
No, not really. They have probably the best set of receivers in the conference, maybe nationally. Jackson Dart's third year. Lane Kiffin's very good as an offensive play caller. And Kelly, sometimes I'll say they scored in warmups. I think Ole Miss scores in the locker room. They scored in the locker room before the warmups. I mean, that's how many points they put on the board. You know.
That's funny.
It-
Okay, so prior to the season kicking off, do you
yes.
think people were a little asleep as to how much talent that Ole Miss has?
No, they realized offensively they were going to be very good. Returned a lot of
Hmm.
people.
But
Good tight
first,
end to the. Yeah, well, the veterans, this is second and
mhm,
third year now with some of these players for Lane Kiffin on offense, so that's significant.
okay,
But what happened was they have the length and the size now in the defense, so they're 12th nationally defense. Now they haven't played a lot of big teams. They went on the road. I covered that game last week against Wake Forest the week before against Wake Forest, beat them
hmm
40-6. So their defense is playing better. It's more an SEC caliber with the length and the size. So that was an point of emphasis for Lane Kiffin when he was trying to assemble his roster. Yeah.
gotcha. Are any names from this Ole Miss team being mentioned in the Heisman chit chat?
Well, I would think Jackson Dart, the transfer quarterback from USC, this is his third year with Lane Kiffin. I would say probably him,
You
if
know, I
anyone
asked
from
you
that
that
team.
because if anybody has had the pleasure of receiving an email from you, you have all these titles in your signature. And one of those titles includes something or other about the Heisman.
Heisman and the Maxwells. We can't. We love our folks at both Heisman and the Maxwell
Yes,
as well.
yes, you're a
So
voting member.
yeah, voting members. So
I
we
mean,
have fun.
don't be humble about that. You know what? I'll do your humble brag for you because that's so impressive. That's something that I think the average person doesn't understand how the whole system works. Because if their person wins the Heisman, then they love the whole situation. They love the whole process. But
Yes,
if they don't, they want to
right.
know who was voting. Who?
Yes, there's right. Who voted that person? Let's get his name. Let's get her name. Let's get their
That's right.
name. Yes, for
Oh
sure. But
goodness.
but
All right.
Kentucky
So.
Kentucky
Mhm,
Kentucky wants to run the ball. Obviously, they've got to keep Ole Miss on the sideline, Kelly. Keep them
that's
in the
right.
locker room if they can, because they need to run that ball and play defense. They'll have a chance. And Brock Vandegrift, the
Hmm.
quarterback, if he ever needs a breakout game, this is the time on the road to play Ole Miss, a team that scores a lot of points. He's got to come through with his team, and his receivers have to support him, catch that football, and the
That's
offensive
right.
line has to block for him. Yeah,
That's right. You got to protect your QB because I tell you,
yeah.
those sacks, those add up, and
Oh my
and if
gosh,
you never want your quarterback feeling unprotected and or scared because when you play scared, nobody
no,
wins.
no. Two other stats, Kelly. When you mentioned sacks, Ole Miss 10th and tackles for loss third. They're a
Mhm.
17.5 point favorite, so they can get to the quarterback and they could tackle you for a loss. Ole Miss is right up
You
there nationally. Yeah.
you think this is going to be a high scoring game?
I think Kentucky would probably hold them down. I mean, Ole Miss was averaging, I think, I don't know, 50 something points a game or whatever it
Hmm.
was. Or 60, whatever that was. It was some astronomical number from another galaxy. So Kentucky played good defense, but on the road is different, Kelly, right? On the road is different.
Totally, totally. Yeah,
You don't play
they
as fast
they
sometimes. I don't know.
and the fans want their money's worth, so they know when to scream and when not to.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
Next game on the list, I tell you what, a lot of nostalgia happening on this one. South Alabama, the Jags taking
yes.
on those LSU Tigers.
Oh yeah, the Tigers and some interesting names in this game, Kelly. Number one,
Hmm.
the head coach, Major Applewhite. You know, he's named after Major Ogilvy, the former
I
running
didn't
back at
know that.
Alabama. Yeah,
I did not know that. I just
yeah, his name's
I
Major.
think that when you have a major name like that, you better live up
Yes.
to it.
Yeah, his parents were Alabama graduates or fans, something like that. But you know, he's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's his
Mm-hmm.
hometown. He's going back there.
Mm-hmm.
You- I mean, you know that Major's excited about this ball game. I asked him a couple months ago about it. You know, it's
Yeah.
a seminal moment for him. So, and then you have
Mm-hmm.
Gio Lopez, the quarterback for South Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's 57 for 92, 62%, 9 TDs so far. No interceptions, no interception. Freshman, no interceptions. And then the other name was kind of cool, Fluff Bothwell. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Fluff Bothwell. And
Wow.
his first name really is Demarion. Demarion.
Oh, I
So
wonder
he's a
where
running back.
fluff comes from because when you think
I
of
don't
fluff,
know.
that's
Yeah.
not something that's looked upon with love. So I mean,
Yeah. So
there's a backstory there.
yeah, he's only averaging 9.7 yards a carry. That's all. That's all.
My.
Yeah. So
Um, so I remember reading an article about Major, Coach Major. I like saying that.
oh yeah.
Saying that you know what he likes Tiger Stadium. You know
Oh yeah.
he remembers when he's got good feelings, but I'm sure he's going to check all that at the door when they kick off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Harold Perkins Jr., the linebacker, the defensive edge rusher, linebacker for LSU, he's out for the season with an ACL. He, you know, it was a potential All SEC, All American type player, so he's out. But LSU, Kelly, this is interesting for me because LSU secondary, when I was at the game last week against UCLA, there was a half a dozen plays where they did not guard a receiver left alone. So they can get confused in that
Really?
secondary.
Uh
Secondary. I
huh.
know Major's a very good play caller, and he's having good success with the freshman quarterback. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, they're underdogs for 20-point underdogs, South Alabama in this ball game, but you might see a few plays where that secondary is confused again. I don't
Well,
know.
hopefully they're not. I mean, I remember a game last week. I think it was maybe the Saints that you know you had three people run into each other like it was like they were bowling pins. I mean, I don't know. I mean, everybody can't be a coach, and everybody can't play on a
No,
college
no,
team. But this is
no.
the time to dot those I's and cross those T's.
Yeah. Oh
Especially,
yeah.
I kind of like being an underdog. I like when people don't think you can do something, or I love when they
I-
don't believe in you. I mean, and if
yeah.
that's that bulletin board material that they need to
Yeah.
really, produce and produce in a big way, I mean,
Yeah.
this is the time.
It can't be a good position. Just want to mention LSU beat UCLA 17-17 halftime, came back to double the score. Good win over UCLA from the Big Ten. Yes, I said the Big Ten, Kelly.
You know, it's always a great day when you can say Big Ten. I just want to say that I
Yeah.
am a true fan, no matter the score.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so you did mention that you're going to be on the road this week, right?
Right. Right.
Okay, and which game are you covering in
That was
person?
Kentucky at Ole Miss, or
Okay,
11
and
o'clock game. Yes.
okay, and I'm glad you said that because I know a lot of times people watch the show and they hear that you're going to be somewhere and they just want to make sure that they can tune into our social media because you before the game ever starts, there are iconic shots that my co-host will always get as well as interviews, and I think that's really important because before you watch the game you want to get those news and notes from him so that you can make a better prediction. We're not
Yes.
encouraging you to bet, but should
No.
you bet?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's just a good reminder to double check our Instagram, our Facebook, and our X account, AP and Kelly, as we see it. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more games after this. Sound good?
Sounds good, co-host. We'll be right back after these messages with AP and Kelly as we see it.
Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greer's.com and use groceries to go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. I'm AP Stedham with Dr. Jason Northcutt of Robertsdale Dental Care.
AP, not only do we offer basic full-service dental treatment, but I also have developed a niche within the practice where I provide comprehensive dental implant services, such as single implants, bone grafting, and full mouth reconstruction. I've been highly trained in those disciplines to offer comfortable and long-lasting solutions to major dental problems.
Come by and see Dr. Jason Northcutt at Robertsdale Dental Care.
Welcome back to AP and Kelly As We See It. We truly appreciate you tuning in each and every week from the podcast standpoint and obviously from the YouTube standpoint. Co-host, we have been rolling through these teams, covering what our fans, their fans, and our viewers want to know. So thus far, Oklahoma versus Auburn, Kentucky versus Ole Miss, South Alabama taking on LSU. Next up is going to be Arkansas versus Texas A&M, and we know that based on your background, you're ready to suit up.
Ready to suit up. You see that helmet behind me? I'm ready. Put me in, coach. Put me in. Maybe not. Yeah. But
Oh,
Kelly,
goodness.
this game, it's played in Arlington, Texas, Jerry Jones Stadium, which he's a former football player on the national championship team for Arkansas. But they're going to go. They're going to move that to a home-and-home series. This is the last time they're going to play that game in Arlington, Texas. So that's big news for both of the
Wait a
fans.
minute, is this with the retractable roof?
That is. That's what the biggest TV in the world, right? The biggest TV in the world. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, Texas A&M ranked 24th. They're a slight favorite, three or 4 points. But I like that Arkansas team, Kelly. I like that transfer quarterback. Yeah, Razorbacks. I like that quarterback, Taylor Green, that transfer from Boise State, big, tall quarterback, 6'5", 6'6", can run, put 100 yards on you in a heartbeat. He's got a strong arm. As Zachary says, not as good as some players, but he's very capable. Arkansas's offense now, Kelly, ranked 8th in the country with Bobby Petrino as the offensive coordinator for Sam Pittman as the head coach. So, and that Jaquindon Jackson, the running back from Texas, played at Texas, Utah, now at Arkansas. He's 100 yards plus a game. 6'2", 230, hard to bring down. I like him. Texas A&M, they're doing the quarterback shuffle, Kelly. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? The quarterback shuffle.
It's like deja vu.
the two quarterbacks, Connor Wigman and Marcel Reed, I believe that's it. Marcel Reed, he's a dual threat quarterback. So we don't know yet, what Mike Elko is going to do, the Texas A&M coach. But Texas A&M, Kelly, they want to run the football. They're 8th in rushing offense in the country. So they want to run that football because their passing offense, when I say over 100, Kelly, 116, that's not good. That's not good.
Help people understand. So if they're ranked 8th out of how many teams?
130 plus. It's 133, 134 FBS level schools. That's all it is, Kelly. It's not a lot.
My goodness.
It's not a lot.
You mentioned where their location, where they're playing, but who's considered the hometown favorite?
They both teams have the same amount of tickets. So it's loud. It's always loud. That's what's fun about that type of game. When you play a neutral site, they both have the same amount of tickets. Kelly, we mentioned something last week about Bowling Green playing Texas A&M. And we said that game we have to pay attention because they had the quarterback that played at Missouri for 3 years and Indiana. And we said he might give A&M a tough time. A&M escaped with a 26-20 win last week.
But so by the hair of their chinny chin chins.
And yeah, maybe not even that. A little closer, maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah.
That's good intel there, co-host. That's very good intel.
So Mike Elko, the coach, he's trying to cut down on the chunk plays.
What are chunk plays? What are chunk plays?
Over 15 yards running, over 20 yards passing by the opponent. Yes, it's going to
See,
cook it.
and I ask the questions that so many people, that they have, but they don't have the ability to ask it. So I ask it on their behalf. So the next time you watch a game, you're going to go, look at that chunk play. You'll understand what you're saying.
Oh my, oh my.
We
That's
appreciate
funny.
the verbiage each and every week. All right.
Oh
So
yes.
we're wrapped up on this one.
Yeah, 42 to 35, 3. That's Arkansas leads the series. 42, 35, 3. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So those numbers, they're not too far from the left or the
Eh,
right. So it's
not too
anybody's
bad. Yeah.
game.
Pretty even.
So the biggie, I know we've talked about this with Buck Belue. We
Yes.
know all eyes are going to be on this next game, Georgia taking on Alabama. I brought it up during our interview, but it's a big game. I mean, and it is an election year, but it's a big game when a former president has announced that he's going to be in attendance. So all eyes are on this game for sports reasons and for other reasons. What do we need to know about both teams?
So Kelly, number 4, Alabama, number 2, Georgia. I had a chance to speak with Kalen DeBoer, and I asked him what stat or phase of the game he would like to see improvement. And he mentioned the tip balls. They want to intercept those, the loose balls on the ground. They want to recover those fumbles. They're improving on the penalty situation. They're trying to improve on third down on both sides, getting the other team off the field on third down, being better on third down. But he wants to raise the level of all areas, all phases of the game, of course. But he seems to think they're solid in most areas. He mentioned. Then I asked him on the other side about Georgia. Well, Georgia, no turnovers, 6 for 6 in the field goals. That was his recollection. No TDs allowed yet, Kelly. Okay. No interceptions by Carson Beck, the Georgia quarterback. No return yards. And that's something Buck Belue mentioned as well. No return yards. So Georgia has a lot of no, 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 no. So Alabama's looking for yes, 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 yes. So
That's right.
well,
Has Georgia become the new Alabama when it comes to the team to fear, the team that seems to
well,
be on that seems to always get the benefit of the doubt?
yeah, they're at the top right now. I think people are chasing them at the moment, but we've seen, especially with the Kentucky game, they're vulnerable. You could shut down their offense, especially on the road. Held to
Okay.
13 points by Kentucky. Kentucky has a good defense. So Alabama, I mean, we know Georgia wants to run the ball, Kelly, but surprisingly, their run game, Georgia's run game is only 84th in the country, 145 yards. That's surprising because Kirby Smart, he
Yeah.
loves to run their football, pound away at you, really demoralize you at the point of attack. So
I
that's
would never think
surprising.
I would never think 84th and Georgia would go together in the same
Right.
sentence.
No, no. And we know that Georgia's missing some people on the defensive line.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if Alabama wins the game, Georgia's not at full capacity, but it's still going to be a difficult victory because the people that replaced are on reserve. They're talented. I don't know if they're the same as the first team, obviously, but they're good football players. So Georgia's going to try to run the ball. Alabama's been balanced, 200 plus yards rushing, passing, and Georgia, their passing game, I don't think it hasn't hit their stride yet. So maybe that has to happen. And then can you contain Jalen Milroe? I don't know if anybody can really contain him. Michigan did in that Rose Bowl game. They
Yeah.
tracked him down and got all over him for 6 losses. He lost about 60 yards in that game. So anyway,
He always says 2 plus 4 is 6. He and Ryan Williams, that's the combo that
Ryan
people
Witt, yeah,
are there. That's the combo that fans are growing to love to see. But
yeah,
what's also equals 6 is these rankings. If you look at the screen, Georgia's number 2, Alabama's number 4. Georgia has got to
6.
be they have got to have their chest poked out, knowing that
Oh,
they've got higher ranking. A lower
oh yeah,
ranking, I should say, but means higher, of course.
means that right, correct. I think that X factor, as you mentioned, I believe it'd be Ryan. It could be Ryan Williams, the young receiver from Saraland High School. He could be the X factor that turns it around, especially at home for Alabama. So
High
be a
score,
good ball game.
high
High,
scoring game. You think?
in the I'm thinking in the 20s, Kelly. I'm thinking
Okay.
in the 20s. I
I'm
think.
gonna go. I'm gonna go 27-13.
And who will win?
I knew you were gonna ask that. Jeez, oh Pete. I'm
I
going
know. Yeah,
Alabama.
yes,
I'm going
yeah.
Alabama. Yeah.
Okay, Alabama. Okay, yeah.
This Michigan fan is going Alabama.
Okay, all righty. Well,
My
it's
husband will be
acceptable.
happy with that.
That's
Okay.
acceptable.
Last but not least, Mississippi State taking on Texas.
Yeah, Texas number 1. Oh, Kelly, and this is a conference game. This is not good for Mississippi State. Only a 38.5-point favorite. Texas, that's all. So
Wow.
that should be a non-conference opponent, 38.5. So Mississippi State, it's a total rejuvenation of that program that will have to occur over the next 2 to 3 years because they're just not ready. Defensively, they need to be a serious upgrade on that side of the ball. Probably going to have some staff changes on the defensive side for Mississippi State. And the series is actually tied 2-2, but Mississippi State last week, they lost to Florida 45-28. Texas beat University of Louisiana Monroe 51-3. So Texas is really another warm-up game to work on their pass catching and rhythm and running the ball and playing good defense and special teams. So you might, when you're clicking between the games, you might watch it for 30 seconds or something. Just check the score.
Listen, those Mississippi State players, they have moms. They will be
Yes.
watching. They will be rooting on their babies.
Oh, yeah.
We always do. All right. As we get to the close of the show, we do want to acknowledge that there's some buys that are impacting a couple of teams that we wanted to point out. Florida,
right. Yeah.
Mizzou.
Florida has a bye. Mizzou has a bye. Mizzou's trying to cut down those explosive plays defensively. South Carolina bye. Tennessee is a bye after beating Oklahoma. That was a great ball game on the road. Vandy, we mentioned this. Diego Pavia played against Missouri, gave him everything they wanted because he played against them when he was at New Mexico State. We said that might be an issue, just like the quarterback that played at Missouri. So he had 178 passing, 84 yards rushing. 2 overtimes they lost to Mizzou. So Vanderbilt's playing better football.
Although we've covered the buys, before we say bye, you wanted to acknowledge the 9 teams in the poll. 9
SEC teams ranked in the top 25. I don't know if that's happened. Maybe it has, but the 4th or 5th week of the season, incredible.
There's something definitely in the water.
Yes.
Good stuff. Hey, yet another great show, co-host.
Thank you, Kelly. And we'll be back next week with AP and Kelly as we see it. Thank you.
Let the games begin at Wind Creek Casino, where new players get a free play rebate of up to $1,000 based on their first day's play. Just stop by Player Services at any Alabama location and sign up for a rewards account to get all the details. Mention you heard this ad on the radio and give the code Kelly25, and we'll throw in a $25 free play bonus. That's KELLY 25. Don't miss out on our new player promise, exclusively from Wind Creek. Minimum $75 loss required for free play rebate. Get full details at windcreek.com or see Player Services.
Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greer's.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it.